Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for attending our series AKYAM, and this is episode 8 of AKYAM, which is a series on emotional well-being, particularly in the context of this pandemic that surrounds us all. So we'll be speaking this evening with Dr. Preeti Kapoor. For those of you who don't already know, Dr. Kapoor has been an associate professor of psychology with Daulat Ram University, which is affiliated with Delhi University. And she has an experience of teaching undergraduates for over 40 years, which is just
Yes.
absolutely incredible. I can't imagine how that must be. So
Yeah.
much experience, and I'm very excited to learn from you as we go about our conversation today. And
Sure.
after retirement, she has been working with NGOs in the education space as well as the mental health space. And I think that there will be so much for us to talk about. So I'm sure
Absolutely.
everyone here is also eager to learn from you and your experience. So, welcome, Dr. Kapoor. Thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I just wanted to start off with a question about anything that you might want to add to this description. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and also how
Okay.
this, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
also maybe how this last year has been for you personally as
okay.
well as professionally.
Okay. Okay. So thank you, Tanvi. Good evening to one and all. And I would like to thank AKM. It's a platform for discussion on a wide variety of issues and concerns. And let me tell you, Tanvi, I have gone through the website, heard a lot of videos, particularly by your CEO, Shishir Joshi. And yes, you do delve into everyday challenges and look for practical solutions. So what is both amazing and exciting is that Project Mumbai is evolving. It's not, usually NGOs remain fixed within their so-called forte. But what I found particularly interesting was the fact that you keep shifting gears and you take into cognizance what is required at the moment. Yes, Ekayam means unity and harmony. So these emotional well-being series, what you're doing is you're bringing in people from varied walks of life. And yes, these spaces hold a very critical role in bringing together such, varied spectrum of people, because it means we hold conversations, we share our thoughts and experiences. I would also like to take this opportunity to say that whatever I've been able to do in the past nearly 1 year is due to the dedicated team of students who have been working tirelessly, burning the midnight oil, working day in and day out to be able to deliver programs, manuals, sessions, and so much more. My gratitude goes out to them, basically because if I am standing before you today, or rather sitting before you today, it is because of them. Okay, so a thanks to them. Now, okay, how has been the past 1 year? Um, Okay, the first point, I retired during the pandemic. Okay, so yes, it left me personally very bewildered, very mixed emotions. I had sort of planned out my retirement, and hey, I was to travel for 6 months to meet family across the globe, and then come back to work. Pandemic ordained otherwise. So as time set in and passed on, I realized the worries, ambiguities, and they crept up very slowly and sedulously, And I have to admit, I've had, more than my moments of anxiety, of stress, angst, and loneliness too. Yes, time would often stand still. The daily routine went for a toss. But mind you, this past 1 year has been a double-edged sword for me. Yes, I had the proverbial downs. Oh, and was I down? but it was accompanied by amazing ups. And these are the ups that I want to share with the audience today. Okay. So in a nutshell, and then I'll go into a little detail. Yes, a lot of professional work providing support systems to the adolescents and the young adult, holding programs and sessions for them. It has been an amazing journey. So we began with a skill program for the youth. It was all activity based in Hindi and English because we wanted to be very inclusive. And we picked up on a few millennium goals. So we picked up on mental health and well-being, interpersonal relationships, and the third area was careers and employability. So here was a group of 17 students, 3 of them now professionals also, but busy working during the pandemic to be able to create this, okay? But we also started realizing as time went by, there was a lot of need to support the youth of today. So what we did was we brought out 2 directories. Okay, the first one was called Just a Call Away. And what we found was that many wanted to talk, to share, but didn't know whom to go to. So here were my team once again, and we said, ma'am, we will create a resource directory. So I hope, is Muskan there? Muskan? Okay, she'll join in shortly after her class. We'll share the directory with you. It's a good 64 pages. It puts together the phone numbers, email IDs of mental health professionals who are charging what, are they free, are they not, and how some of them are trying to help any and everybody. Then we also realized that not everybody was ready to talk and share. And one of the students said, ma'am, there's so many mental health apps. Why don't we create a directory out of that too? And there we went again. We've created an e-self-care directory of all the mental health apps. I agree, it's not exhaustive, but it is to give an idea that yes, technology is also now coming up. And let me tell you, Tanvi, that in the time to come, it is technology online contact, which is maybe going to be the first point of contact. So if we are to start somewhere, I think we should take this opportunity to be able to start using various forms and ways of reaching out and allowing others to approach you. So that is one. We did a very exciting project for 3 months for the All India Confederation of the Blind. And we worked on self-care strategies with them. Let me share, I think we learned more than they did because, my team kept saying, and they've written reflective reports at the end of how they had certain ideas, myths in their mind, and how they were broken when they worked with them. So like this, we've been working on a number of issues like cybersecurity, cyberbullying, sexual harassment, the dark web, mental health and self-care, interpersonal relationships, and so on and so forth. So basically, I have to admit there have still those moments of doubts and procrastination and feeling down and out, but it has been a very fulfilling year simply because my students and my team have given me the opportunity to go beyond teaching. So if I've taught for over four decades, now I am all there to reach out to the adolescents and the youth of today. So our mission continues. I can keep going on, but I think that gives you a good snapshot of how the past 1 year has been really a double-edged sword. And I don't think any of us could have imagined the situation, yet we're still there. So I am very hopeful.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you
back to
so
you,
much,
Tanvi.
ma'am. Thank you. And something that really stands out to me from actually a lot of things stand out to me, but I'm really going to capture a few things that I
Okay.
found particularly heartening. Something, in fact, from the very first conversation that we had a few months ago, I remember how you're always really acknowledging your students' effort, and the sort of love that you have for your students, and
Yes.
their efforts towards this discipline, or towards effecting
Yes.
change, or just being passionate in general about something and really
Yes.
taking action towards that. And that is, in my experience, of course, some authority figures may have had that, but often there is that sort of lacking as well, unfortunately. So
Okay.
it's something really important for me to point out, that it's great to hear you say that your students also help you be where you are today, and
Yes,
you enjoy
absolutely.
working with them, because that.
True. In
Uh-huh.
fact, let me correct myself, Tanvi. It's not been only in the past 1 year. For the past decade and a half, teams of students have been working,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly in the area of sexual health and hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone to the slum areas, corporates, some schools, gone to melas also to conduct these. And I thank those students. Because see, by myself, Tanvi, or anybody can't do anything. But it's that dedication, commitment, exuberance, actually, that keeps me going. I doubt if I would have been able to do so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. And I
Mm,
think it's definitely that interpersonal relationship, and that sort of trust and
yes,
rapport that builds over time, and to maintain that is a beautiful thing. So
true.
just sort of acknowledging that as well.
Yeah.
And all the amazing work, I would really love to go through Just a Call Away. It sounds like a very
Yes.
comprehensive resource toolbook. So definitely when Muskan joins, we can have
Yes.
that
Yeah.
shared with everyone present here as well. And particularly for this time that we're all going through a lot of uncertainty
Yes.
with respect to our role as students, as teachers, as academicians, as faculty of universities. So
Yes. True.
I think it would be very important to address how the pandemic and the restrictions that it has brought on has
Mhm.
affected the nature of work or the pace of work at the universities, in maybe restricting ways, but also were there opportunities that were created in this time due to the pandemic? So if you could.
Okay.
Mhm.
Very apt question, Tanvi. Yes, the lockdown brought in closure of educational institutions, and it has taken a very heavy toll. And I would say not only on the educational level and their accomplishments or
Mhm.
achievements, but what I would like to share is that it this period also highlighted the rise of mental health challenges, not only amongst the students, but teachers, parents, whole society. Next, also what I found was the profound financial and resource disparities between regions, districts, schools, colleges, and individual students.
Mhm.
And this is becoming even more stark. And unfortunately, I dread to say it, it is only going to grow.
Mhm.
So when we look at education, it is an important factor in human capital development. And if that is missing, whether you are 5 years old or even 25 years old. So let me just bring your attention to a few salient ones because there are innumerable ones. So first is, yes, there was no option but to have online classes. And those online classes are feasible more in the urban setups. What about the rural setups? More for the affluent. So what we find is that the marginalized and the disadvantaged were being left far behind because of this digital divide. Let me share an example with you. One of the students called me up and said, Normally they call me Didi. Didi, मैं class नहीं attend कर पा रही हूँ. And she was sobbing and crying. So I said, क्या हुआ? Now the problem is they have only one smartphone. There are 2, 3, 4 children. So she says, we have to share the phone. So that means only one of them can attend. And unfortunately, there is gender disparity in our country. It's the girl child who is likely to suffer more. So when you look at this, whether it's poverty, gender inequality, has been addressed. I'm not denying that. But I feel that with the present scenario, we have gone back, I don't know how many decades, because there are many children, including the girl child, who's going to slip through the net, and she may be, or he may be, permanently be out of the educational system. Now you look on the other side. The ground reports tell us about stress, anxiety, suicide ideation among students. Why? They cannot attend their classes. They cannot pay the fees. They don't have the necessary books. They don't have the necessary support. What do you do? So basically what we see is that given the diversity that is present in India, what do we find? That we are trying to create a status quo, which was, as it is, a big challenge. I don't know if we will be fair to all the children. Will it be education for all? Big question. Now I come to I have a bias, and I'm passionate about it, is the mental health of the students. And yes, the past 1 year has been a sea of challenges and also personal dilemmas in front of me. See, my training and my personal belief of providing support to the students was face-to-face, give them time. But I somehow had this something against using technology and online help. I used to feel, no, it won't do justice. It's not right. Even that, no, I had to turn around. It was a struggle within me because I saw, I heard, and felt the need to change my own perspective. So let me share with you. One student wrote to me, "Ma'am, मैं आपसे बात नहीं कर सकती हूँ. I can only message." So I said, why not? Why? It's so much easier to hold a conversation. She says, नहीं, मम्मी पापा भैया सुन लेंगे कि मैं क्या बोल रही हूँ. So I can only send you a message, and that too at night. So you can imagine the trauma, the turmoil that students have been going through. And perhaps it is humanly impossible to reach out to all of them, because each session would take half an hour, 1 hour, at times 1.5 hours. It is exhausting even for me. So when we look at the stress about not only academics, but also when will we resume college? When will I meet my friends? And also, I found a common problem was there was too much family time, which we used to hanker for. And we used to say, no, go spend time. But this it is unhealthy also now. Too much of, because they were intruding into each other's spaces. And because of that, the tension, pressure, and being unable to cope and manage with themselves started rising. Though I have to correct myself here also. One student did share that initially she had a very sort of a tense relationship with her mother, but the pandemic time gave her time to spend with her. She helped her in the household work. She got to speak to her mother. And she says things changed. So, it is a mixture of what I am sharing with you. And I also have to mention the rise in violence at home, abuse, sexual abuse. Both the youngsters and the adults have been facing, and reaching out to these students online is very, very difficult. They do tend to approach you once or twice, and then it's, a full stop there. Lastly, this is what I can sum up the past 1 year, and this is particularly true for the youth of today, is the despair and grief that they have. Okay? And you'll say, why grief? Grief is usually associated with bereavement, loss of a loved one. But the grief that I talk about is the pain that is so invisible of the loss of an earlier life world. One where there were aspirations, dreams, plans, goals. We'll do this, we'll go there. So how do they manage and cope up with such grief? See, because we have to remember, all things that are lost are actually connections. Yes, loss of hope. True. Thank you, Yashwant. Loss of hope of what? That the connections I had with people, places, things, suddenly there is a chasm. And grief happens because of these loss of connections. When we lose these connections, what starts happening? Grief starts setting in. Sense of loss, pain, stress, desolation, isolation. And I have only one thing to say. Yes, this grief will remain in the inner as well as the outer world. But each person needs to work their way through this grief in a healthy way. There has to be a closure. Because if we keep grieving, we do not have time to heal. So it's a paradox, actually, this grief. The grief is supposed to be, okay, let's deal with it. But at the same time, if it fixates you within that, it doesn't allow you to grow. So my basic, the programs that I hold, or I'm telling them, look, there will be loss, you will cry, you will feel upset, but still go on, go ahead. Yes, the youth is resilient, Tanvi, but my concern is the prolonged period of stress and strain. How long can we take this resilience for granted? कि अरे छोटे हो, पूरी जिंदगी पड़ी है, संभाल लो अपने आप को. I'm sorry, हम ही नहीं अपने आप को संभाल पा रहे हैं.
That doesn't sound very encouraging. कि पूरी जिंदगी आगे पड़ी है, तो you will be able to do it.
Yes,
it doesn't sound encouraging.
but that is what we tend to, say.
Yeah.
So that is what I'm feeling, that yes, we need to have these spaces to talk about the grief they feel. All the programs that I have held, all that they say is, ma'am, meri baat to sun lo. Please hear me out. So we need these spaces to talk, to share. And very often, just talking and sharing is sufficient to let the healing process begin. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am, because I think something that you did, which is crucial and I'm very grateful for, is the fact that you addressed how there are so many systems in place that are perpetuating this sense of hopelessness. And, even though we look at education, we're probably, when we first ask these questions around, the impact on education and formal academic spaces, where is the impact happening? Most people are thinking about the more affluent schools, and now as I see the questions that we created as well, whilst they are trying to address everyone across that digital divide, definitely there is more of weightage on one section of society over the other. Also the gender disparity, right? Such important issues which cannot necessarily just be put together as academic spaces or educational institutions as one and see
Yeah.
how they've all collectively coped with the pandemic, because everyone else, every organization or every set of organizations has had to cope differently with the resources.
True.
I
True.
remember this conversation that I had with a teacher during one of our sessions about how the teachers are coping with this, and this was maybe in the early months of the lockdown.
Okay.
And something that they said was that she was a kindergarten teacher, and
Mhm.
she said that it becomes very difficult because I have a small baby at home as well,
Yes.
and these kids who I have to teach are probably not very well versed. I am not either, with the Zoom and all these platforms that were suddenly
Yes.
emerging. And
True.
to suddenly transfer your skills from making charts on actual chart paper to teach them
Yes.
to doing it online on
Online.
online
Yes.
platforms.
Yeah,
And that's
you're
a
right.
completely change, it's a complete change of skill set.
Consent.
So
True.
to have that sort of 360-degree change and to cope with it overnight, because something that comes to mind is this, the new normal that was sort of
Yes.
really pushed down people's throats and said just accept it,
Yeah.
without
Yeah.
really giving time to process what is happening, without really
Yes.
understanding the grief, like you very, very beautifully said. Grief, the loss of connection, the loss of seeing your best friend in school and playing
Yes.
during recess,
Oh, yes.
something that has been familiar to you for the last 10, 15, 20 years of your life, to be doing that over this sort of screen and
Yeah.
adapting with that across maybe 2 3 days or a month or 2 months, something
Yes.
that has been familiar to you for decades now. So
Right.
how do we cope with that? And that is something that you address so beautifully. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Welcome.
Yeah. And just to go into students in particular with respect
Okay.
to completing their courses and wanting to
Mhm.
aspire, like you said, that we've had to leave behind a lot of our aspirations, or at least put them on hold
Hold.
for
Yes.
an indefinite period of time at this point.
True.
And in that process, I feel like a lot of students whose work has shifted to a completely online medium, they've not received closure of where they were
Yes.
in that academic year. So is there something that you might want to say to those students?
Tanvi, I've also just read a question put
Mhm.
up there. So I think if I could try to put it together, loss of hope, but how do we implant hope post grief? What do you feel about it? Also, in the absence of closure, it is even worse, isn't it? I agree with you 10%. Yes, it is very difficult. And what I would like to remind all of you is, if you watch the movie or read the book, The Life of Pi,
Mhm.
it's very close to my heart. And the protagonist says, what hurts the most is not taking a moment to say goodbye.
That's
I
beautiful.
have felt it too. During pandemic, I did retire, but where is that closure to me too? I know, sorry, it's not that I'm trying to place attention towards myself, but I'm saying the same holds true for all the students, whether in school, colleges, professional institutions, because see, as it is, saying goodbye is very difficult under normal conditions. All of us have attended those farewells where we've been looking forward to them, but at the same time, crying our heart out for having to leave that one phase of life and going on to the next. So, yes, students did feel and still continue to do so very disappointed, powerless, disconnected, as if the time they had spent in school and college was just by the way, it didn't matter to anyone. It did, but we couldn't. So, what I would like to say is that each one of us, when we are going through this transition period of stepping into young adulthood or retirement, we have to learn. and gain a sense of purpose all over again. Very easy to say, but very difficult. So what I would say is remember, or okay, now let me rephrase. Create meaning out of your challenges and accomplishments during that time. Okay? We faced our hardships, we faced our uncertainties, we faced our anxieties, but we have to move on. So empower yourself with the pleasant memories that you have spent with your friends, with your teachers, or whatever the environment was like, and preserve them. These are small things, but they will go a long way to combat the loss and the stress that you experience. See, hope is something which is the only feeling and emotion I feel that keeps me going. And I think the hope that things will become better, will change, is what has to keep us going. If we don't, and I shared with you, then we remain fixated and stuck at a particular grief level. So I would love to take a workshop or a session on how to even talk about that grief, have a closure, so somewhere those rituals, customs of the farewell, those photographs, those caps that we wear, and we stick them onto our, memory books. Very important. But if we don't have them, we still have to move ahead. We can't stay fixated. Have your moments of grief, but have your moments of rising up too. That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I think that was so needed. And something, as you were speaking, you've mentioned that it's very important to have these sort of rituals that help us transition.
Yes.
And when you were speaking of that transition, I went back to my farewell and how much I was crying, how good a time I was having, but also the sort of deep sorrow I was feeling. And I quickly checked in with why I might have been feeling that sorrow. And I realized that my college and that space had become, for the last 5 years of my life, had become a space of comfort.
Okay.
And going from, being in a space that is exciting, but also comforting and reassuring in many ways, to a space that is unknown, that takes courage. And the farewell, or preparing for that final year to end, is really something that helps us move on and helps make that transition easier. But this sort of immediacy in the lockdown, or the change of how we do things from tomorrow, was definitely stark. And really the effect of that has shown through. And like you said, making meaning of the accomplishments that we've created in this last year. So here I just wanted to maybe pause and take a second to redefine what an accomplishment might also look like, right?
Okay.
Maybe an accomplishment can be to start a new project, excel at something that you're having. But maybe an accomplishment could also be getting out of bed.
I agree with you totally.
Taking a shower on some days, it could be, and that sense of accomplishment could sort of be dynamic on a day-to-day basis. Maybe reaching out to a friend, or to a helpline, or to a mental health professional. That could be an incredible accomplishment for many people. So I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because for all of us, maybe if we say accomplishment, the idea of an accomplishment is sort of predefined in terms of academic achievements, or professional achievements. But accomplishments can be small but big in so many ways. So yeah, absolutely. And even with respect to accomplishments in the very conventional style, maybe, of like getting your degree, getting your job, and going very fluently from your academic institution into the professional world. I feel like this last year has sort of not really allowed that to happen and that transition to happen
Mhm.
for so many students, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
is there, through your conversations with your students and the people
Mhm.
around you, the young people in particular, would you know and would you be able to share about how these students who have not necessarily, acquired that dream job or a job after getting their degree, how would they have
Mhm.
been coping?
Tanvi, that's a very tough question. Let me try. Uh, First of all, the ground reality is that where education and also the job market is concerned, they're closely linked. Number one. Number two, let us also not forget just a graduate or a postgraduate usually starts at the bottom of the ladder. So their jobs are the first to go, right? So it's only those who have come up with that certain degree, skill set, experience, they are more likely to go ahead. So when you look at particularly the Indian context, sluggish market, particularly the job market,
Mhm.
and 16% of our population in the age group of 15 to 24 years consists of the youth, okay? Coupled with a sort of 0 year or, you've not been able to achieve anything academically other than, fine, you've got your degree. So they are hit the hardest. Not that to say the others haven't suffered. Of course, each and every one is. But see, what has happened is that, once again, I know I'm repeating it, but the diversity in India is so, so complex that one size cannot fit all. Having said that, I would say that the youth needs to be proactive still go ahead. So join internships, do some training so that you're not sitting idle. Because the skill set that you think you may have or should have developed in college or postgraduate studies, you've not been able to do so because of online learning. You have to start building up an umbrella of skill sets, depending upon what is required in the job market. So that proactiveness is keep doing something. Don't sit, because let me tell you, mental health is, and of course your physical bodily health are very closely connected. Both will be affected very badly. Again, I have to say it's much easier said than done,
Mhm.
because the person who is undergoing all this, the youth, as it is being hit very badly. So that is one little message I have only, because I can't even see what the future holds, other than you have to keep working.
Going. Yes. Yes. I think that, with the conditioning that maybe most, if not all of us have had with respect to how our life would sort of pan out, with respect to, and of course, I'm speaking of the more affluent
Mhm. Tanvi, I can't hear you. Hello, Tanvi, I can't hear you.
just hold on.
Uh,
Um,
yeah, now you're there.
is this good?
Good. Good now.
All right. So sorry. I
Ah,
wasn't sure what happened. I'm sitting very close to my router. Um,
okay.
I was saying earlier that, with respect to your primary education being maybe 10 years and then 2 years of junior college, then your undergrad being 3 years. After that,
Mhm.
you get a job, or maybe some of them go on to get higher degrees. So, with respect to that understanding, right from when we're fairly young, to think
Yes.
of us as having a job by this age, it does become incredibly difficult to notice that that is not the reality, because of something so unprecedented,
Right.
nothing that is in our control. but yet something that's affecting our life and our understanding of where we would
Mm,
have been at this stage so drastically.
right.
So I can imagine that, it must be absolutely, if it's not uh, very devastating, just disheartening, even that this is where
Yes.
I saw myself being. And of course, in our society, there is also a lot of expectations, maybe from parents and other seniors around us, of where we would be and what we should be doing.
True.
So, your advice, if I understand correctly, was that whilst if we're not able to get a job, to use this time to just be proactive in one way or another is
Yes.
something that might help you get through this time. Is that
Yes.
is that right?
Yes, absolutely right. Because this is what we felt when we created the manual for the life skill programs, that careers and employability was a very important area, and that's why we created activities around it to remind them about choice of subjects, why it is important to speak good English, why it is important to study, why it is important to see that where do your interests match with your aptitude. So, these are the type of activities we've introduced for them to be able to at least think and reflect. That's important.
I'm really interested about this manual, ma'am. Would that be possible
Okay.
for you to tell me a little bit more about it?
Okay. See, very often, let me give you the rationale behind it. This particular manual came up because I was working with an NGO by the name of Khushi. It's in Delhi. It's basically looking after the educational needs of the marginalized, the disadvantaged. They have many programs, out of which one that they wanted to do during the pandemic was how do we reach out to students. And what we did was, of course, the academic part was looked after by another team, your English, maths, Hindi, so on and so forth. But what we also looked into was the mental health concerns. If you remember, I said that was one major topic. In that, what we tried to introduce was, once again, what is self-care? So we didn't really use the word mental health. That's a bit too, so well-being is what we looked at. Happiness is what we looked at. And agar aapko khush rehna hai, aap kaise khush reh sakte ho? So when you start doing activities and conversations around it, you start thinking of how to keep yourself grounded, how to keep yourself satisfied and happy, because happiness can have various meanings. And that is where we developed what was called the matka of happiness, Khushi ka matka. So we asked the children, what all would you like to put in it? So, you have to lead them to that path. And fine, it could be money also. Yes, money is important. But in addition to that, we try to create those scenarios where they could relate to mental health. We brought in emotions also, because very often we don't talk about emotions. And just to give you an idea, actually feelings and emotions play a very important function. We are often told in childhood, don't get angry, it's not good. So what we sort of convey to the students is emotions are to be treated like messages. They're a part of you, but not completely. They're a part of you. तो आपके लिए postman एक चिट्ठी लाता है. चिट्ठी पढ़ो, emotion को feel करो, क्यों गुस्सा आया जानो, but उसके बारे में कुछ करो. And not remain in that anger or don't express anger. So like this, we've taken them down the path of jealousy, anger, resilience. So we've used both positive psychology as well as these ways of telling them that there are various ways of understanding yourself. Try to do that. So having done that, we also went into interpersonal relationships, particularly with authority figures, your teachers, your parents, your grandparents, your principal, how to be able to communicate. Because communication very often is the first step, and if we falter there, it's game over, sort of. So there are banging of doors, shouting, or you just look up in the air to say, you will not understand. So in that way, we've taken them down the path of, through activities again. Because look, if you're going to lecture them, they've heard it, been there, seen that, heard that. So through activities, when you are engaging yourself, you've got that self-agency, मैं कर रही हूँ, मैं कर रहा हूँ ये काम. That is where they started helping them. Finally, it was on careers and employability, as I just shared with you, how and where you need to make a choice right from class 10. And it's only in class 10 that they start thinking about it. So we've taken them around what are the various sources they can hear, read online to be able to find out, okay, if I take up A, B, and C combination, what will it lead me to? And let me share with you one thing, and I can't forget that. One girl came, this is a good, maybe 15, 20 years ago. One girl came to take admission in economics honors, and she didn't have maths. So I said, Beta, you can't get admission. She said, what do you mean I can't? But I've studied economics in school. So those are the rules and regulations of the university or the college. So when there is a disconnect between what you want to do and when you finally land up at the door of the institution, there is a mismatch. So when you're looking at careers and employability, you have to be, again, proactive. But unfortunately, all of us just flow in that direction of 8th कर लिया, 9th कर लिया, 10th कर लिया, कुछ एक ले लिया. अच्छा तुम क्या ले रही हो? अरे तुमने ये सब्जेक्ट लिया, मैं भी वही ले लेती हूँ. 12th में the same thing. I've seen that in college too. And you know, that herd community or that herd mentality of tum ye kar rahi ho, how can I lose out on my friendship? But you've lost about 15 years of your academic life in just looking after the easy way. The comfort zone is there. So this manual is basically to be able to bring in that skill set and help them do that. Okay, is Muskan there?
Yes, I think Muskan joined a while.
Joined. So Muskan, can you just share both the PDFs, please?
Yeah, that would be so lovely. Thank
you.
Yeah,
That is, actually, we need to also update it. But then again, we've been doing so many things. So hopefully we need to, fine tune that too. But I've heard from my students, those who are techno savvy, do use the e-self-care. Some of the apps are free up to a certain point. And then payment comes in. So I'm sorry, that is something that we need to grapple with. But I remember Headspace had made it free for the IITs and the MBA institutes. I wish they had made it free even for students at the school and college level, because the masses go there. That's the educational system they have. So I hope Project Mumbai may come up with an app on mental health. Yeah. And, I'm very keen. I'm pushing actually the NGO that I'm working with, Your Wonderful Project. I'm pushing them to develop a mental health app. It's required, particularly in different languages. See, we are privileged. We know English. What about those who are in the regional areas? They need apps to be able to talk to at least. So these are the two links. One is the resource directory. The other one is the e-self-care directory. Anybody and everybody can go through it, use it. Please give us suggestions and comments. We can and want to improve it even further.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you, Muskan, for sharing these two links. We're definitely going to delve into them. And I'm sure that there is so much incredibly useful information,
Hope
not
so.
just for me, but for everyone here. So, really, thank you for sharing the sort of fruit of your efforts so far. And like you said, I agree that the need for a mental health app, which is sort of decentralized but centralized, is
Yes.
required, really in this time as well. And I was just about to ask you if you could sort of guide us towards other portals on which
Mm-hmm.
students in particular can reach out for
Okay.
their mental health.
Well, then I would like to talk briefly about your wonderful project,
Mhm.
simply because I've been associated with it for about 4 years, and particularly the support team there.
Mhm.
The entire NGO is run by volunteers. These are students themselves. So you can imagine they are heavily into the academic commitments as well as they give time. So what the support team does is it acts like a bridge. Okay. So here is one person who is a help seeker, does not know whom to go to, where to go to, how to approach. So what the we call it YWP, your wonderful project. It provides online support on many platforms. So you can WhatsApp, you can mail, they are on Twitter, they are on Instagram. So that basically on a lot of social media platforms, all that they need to do is write. Confidentiality is maintained, but yet, as I was saying, it's a bridge. So what do? They connect you to, they listen to you and connect you to a professional. This way, if you are not aware of how or what or when you are to seek help. So their website is still coming up. The support team has developed a lot of protocols. It has developed also the frequently asked questions on mental health, and it addresses them. So we are still working on it. And so this is one that I personally know of, but there are many others who are doing excellent work on in this area. So you can just go through the directory that I've mentioned, go through the e-self-care, so that I don't mention one and not the other. Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Thank you for also bringing up your wonderful project. It definitely sounds like a lot of work has been put into
Yes, it
creating these
has.
resources. So,
Yes.
I really hope that more and more people choose to access it and really benefit for themselves as well as
Mhm.
for the organization.
Yes,
And
true, true.
I think just to sort of be mindful of the time, maybe
Okay,
we can
yes.
spend the last few minutes addressing questions. So
Okay,
we already have one question that's come in,
okay.
but if there are any more questions, please feel free to type it in the chat box, and I can read them out and we can address them thoroughly. So I'll just read out the first question that has already been asked. It's by Adya. It says,
Mhm.
"Ma'am, if someone experiences anxiety and powerlessness, how can they grapple with it on their own? How can they self soothe, basically?"
Okay. See, it is very easy and difficult at the same time, because if you are very much aware that you are going through um, anxiety or stress, what is important is to somewhere increase your self-awareness about it. And yes, there are various tools, ways, and means by which we can, if others calling it self-soothe, it is also referring to what can I also do to help myself. So mindfulness is one such uh, strategy technique that is very popular, which can be used. We can also use the apps that are given there. They also allow you to share anonymously though I'm sure they must be keeping that data somewhere. We've had a lot of Facebook and Google issues. But anyway, so what they do is they take you down that path of whether it is, see, everyone has their own way of self-soothing. Okay. It could be hearing music. It could be going out for a walk. But let me share something with you on a personal note, which I started doing only during the pandemic. I used to teach a lot in terms of emotions, and you must regulate your emotions. And there was a day that I did break down, and I cried my heart out and went off to sleep. I got up a little later and I said, hey, this is what I tell my students, and I don't do it myself. So to self-soothe, I keep, just as we have a speedometer, which tells us the speed, I also now have what I call my emotional meter. On a 5-point scale, every day I mark how did I feel today. And that gives me a good graph to be able to understand myself, because we are not aware. We do feel something, but we don't recognize it. So this is one very small technique. Journaling is another one. You can write poetry. And I do have a team that paints very well. So what one of our team members did was, she said, ma'am, Valentine's Day is coming and we are not going to work. I said, fine, we're going to have fun. So I said, sure. And what was the fun? She drew all of us, we were about 9 or 10 of us, drew along with her. I can't tell you how therapeutic it was. I held a color pencil after, I don't know, 5 decades, 7 decades, 6 decades. So I told Charu, I said, Charu, thank you for taking us down this path. So self-soothing is something that you have to find for yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you tell me to draw every day, maybe no, but for that one point in time, it did help me. So each one of us has to see during this time, we've got a lot of me time, a bit too much maybe, but, but yet, if we've been able to find that one thing which helps soothe us. In fact, that is what Flourishil does. It's an online community developing resources that when you're down and out, what type of music do you like to hear? So these girls are collating
playlists.
Yes. Yeah. Which books do you read? Which author do you prefer? So this way we are sharing. And in that sharing, we are busy. We feel we're doing something for somebody else. So Flourishil is another addition to our set of activities that we are doing. So both the directories came under, no, the first one was not, the second one is under Flourishil. Okay. The team of 9 members, very active.
I think the first thing that I'm going to do as we conclude today is to go and look at the directories and look up Flourishil and look up your wonderful project and look up Khushi, because
do that.
There's so much incredible work happening, and it's sort of really heartening to listen to, even on a very personal level. So thank you for sharing absolutely all that you have shared, and teaching me, as I'm sure you've taught everyone else here. I can't imagine how quickly this hour has passed. It's
yes,
and if we have any other questions, maybe we can put them down here, or else. Oh, we have such a lovely comment from Nayansi, and I agree with that. It was so honest. Thank you for sharing your personal anecdotes as well. So important to really connect at that level, more than just the very professional level. Whilst that might be great, it becomes an even more enlightening conversation when.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here today. And
thank you for giving me the opportunity. to interact and be able to, share some of my thoughts.
Absolutely. Very, very grateful to be able to do that.
Thank you.
And we really hope that, we're able to associate with you on multiple levels in the future.
I am ready. My team is ready. You just have to, give us some green signal and we are raring to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Bye to everyone and
Bye-bye.
have a great day.
Yes, you too. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
I'm just going to